Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Patty and this is my Handmade Lifestyle. In today's video, I would like to share with you the books I've been enjoying this past month. Some of them are library books and some of them are books that I ordered as used books. On this channel, I like to get into things old school, and so I like to do some sewing and knitting. I like to cook and I like to garden. And if you like those things too, then please subscribe to the channel while you're here today. It's so easy. You can just click this little thing down in the corner over here. Click on there, click on the subscribe tab that's below the video, and please make sure that you hit that notification bell. If you really want to know what's going on, then I encourage you to join my email list. The link for that is in the down bar. I will let you know a couple of times a month links over to new content I've created, which is a lot. But first, let's have a little sip of some wonderful spring water. And I'm enjoying this week's beverage in my so much fun kitten mug. And this is my design. You can find this mug in my Etsy shop, which is linked below. And if you want to see me unbox this video, I will link up here to the printable unboxing video where you can see this come out of the box. And this mug is so cute. I really do love it. This year I set a goal for myself to read more, and in doing so I went and got my library card in the next city over, which also helps with the other resolution, which is to get out more. So every 6 weeks or so I travel to the next city, which is Norfolk, Virginia, to use their beautiful library system. I've been going to the main library, which is downtown. It's called the Slover Public Library, and it's absolutely beautiful. I would like to do a vlog and take you over and show you around, but I'm waiting until I get a new camera that makes the walking around videos look better, because I film everything using my phone, which I think is a great camera, but it's not good for walking around stuff. So when the new camera, when I get that, then we'll do a lot more stuff where we go out. This first book I actually renewed because I didn't get a chance to read it in the first 3 weeks that I had it. So I renewed it and I finally read it, and this is a really good book. It's called Audrey and Givenchy, A Fashion Love Affair. And I am a movie buff. I love, love, love movies, especially old movies. And this book goes through their relationship in the films that they worked on together. So if you love Audrey, this is a great book to look for. They first worked together in Sabrina. So I'm just going to read the movies that are covered in this book. Sabrina, Funny Face, which I love Funny Face. I have Funny Face somewhere here on a DVD. I'm going to look for it. Love in the Afternoon, which I have not seen and would like to see. Breakfast at Tiffany's, Paris When It Sizzles, Charade, How to Steal a Million, Bloodline, and Love Among Thieves. These are all of the film collaborations that they had together. And they were also friends off screen in real life, and he dressed her for her personal life as well as her film life. And he felt like when Audrey came to his studio and picked out a couple of things to try on and put them on, he felt like his dresses had come to life and that he had truly found his muse. And so they were so good together. And the book is full of all these great old studio stills that they used to take. They used to do all these really fabulous setups for films. here they are working together. Yeah, the old studios. I mean, I know that nothing is perfect, but I just love how they used to hire photographers who were on set shooting production stills during filming. I just don't think they do this kind of stuff anymore, which is really a shame. So apparently, Humphrey Bogart did not care for either Audrey Hepburn or William Holden. They sort of got on his nerves, so to speak. So it wasn't exactly this happy trio that we see pictured in the Hollywood stills. But still, isn't that great? Look at that. And she really defined that high neckline. Oh, she was so wonderful. Anyhow, I love Audrey Hepburn. I just think she's so classy and she's so elegant and she's just so amazing. And I wish we could return to some of this because we need more of this for sure. I'm getting distracted because the pictures are so good in this book. And they just, I don't know, you get a little bit of old studio gossip. Apparently, Audrey and William Holden had an affair when they worked on Sabrina together, and when they came back together to work on this film, it was a little touchy because William Holden was remarried, or married to his wife of more than 20 years. And William Holden later admitted it had been difficult for him to work with his former Sabrina flame Audrey in Paris When It Sizzles. So apparently they had an affair while he was married. So it was truly an affair. So Audrey was not like this little innocent ingenue like we all like to think of her as. She was a little bit spicy. Anyway, and look at this. I love all this 60s stuff. It's so cool. So if you like Audrey and you're a film buff and you love beautiful clothes, this is a really good book. And I highly recommend it. Here's the author. It's kind of a younger woman. Surprisingly enough. So she has some other books. She's a film and fashion buff. Cindy De La Hoz, author of So Audrey, A Touch of Grace, How to Be a Princess, The Grace Kelly Way, Lucy at the Movies, and Lana, The Memories, the Myths, and the Movies. So I might have to look up some more of her books. But there she is. So I would give Audrey and Givenchy a big thumbs up. This is a really great book. This next book is another book that I renewed because I hadn't quite finished it and I had really hoped to work out of it, and it's this Secret Lives of Baked Goods. And I really, really liked this book a lot. I had hoped to have tested a couple of recipes by now. I have not, but I will tell you, on my list to make is going to be Katharine Hepburn's brownies, which are a very particular way of mixing things. And then I also want to make this other cake. This cake is kind of having a renaissance moment right now online. Online, they're calling it the Better Than Anything cake because that's polite. But this cake came about in the 70s or 80s. It had a lot of different names, so I'll read you some of the names. Better Than Robert Redford cake, so that tells you it was old. Finger Licking Good cake. Earthquake cake. Holy cow cake. Oh my god cake. That's definitely the 80s. But what most of us know it as is the Better Than Sex cake. If you're of a certain age, then you're going to remember the Better Than Sex cake. And there's a lot of versions of this going around online. The one I remember had Cool Whip and canned pineapple and she seems to have that similar recipe. So I do want to try to make this. She goes ahead and uses actual whipped cream from scratch rather than Cool Whip, and so that's why I want to try this recipe. Yeah, I remember this being really, really good, so I thought I would try it out. I will definitely make it for the channel, and we'll see how that is. And I do want to make Katharine Hepburn's brownies for the channel as well. So I unfortunately can't give you a full review on how good the recipes themselves are. I do know that the woman who is the author, Jessie Oleson Moore, she used to run a blog called Cake Spy that was incredibly well known back in the day, and she disbanded it, which I think is kind of sad, but she needed to move on to other things, and so Cake Spy is still there. You can read it, but she's not writing anymore about it. But yeah, I thought I would make those couple of recipes, and based on those, I might order this book for myself on Amazon. I haven't decided, but it's a nice hardback book. Of course, I love that green color. It's that vintage minty green that's so hot. But it was enjoyable to read. I will say that. And I can only hope that the recipes are going to be good. They certainly look good. I mean, how are you going to mess up brown sugar and pineapple and whipped cream? You have to really be trying hard to mess that up. So I'm sure it'll be good, but I'll let you know. And so stay tuned, and you can see how I make it and how it comes out. So I'll give that one a conditional thumbs up because I really liked reading it. I enjoyed the stories that she shared. And the recipes look good. And nothing is like super hard. There's no like mental gymnastics involved in making these recipes. Okay, the next book, I'm going to give this one a mixed review. This is called Huck, and it's by Janet Elder. This is based on their story with this devil of a puppy. Oh my goodness, this little dog. So it's the remarkable true story of how one lost puppy taught a family and a whole town about hope and happy endings. So the good news is, they do get the dog back. So that's good. It's not like, oh God, what's that other book? Marley and Me. I actually have the book. Okay. So Huck is not like Marley and Me in that you get so invested in the book and then you realize what's going to happen, but you're so invested you have to keep reading it anyway, and then it rips your heart out. But this is a very good book. If I had to choose, I would pick Marley and Me because it's very, very good. I also have a fond memory of this in relation to my best friend who's passed away. We had an experience over this, which I'm not going to get into right now, but this is a very good book. This one, I would say that this is a good book for a kid. So if you've got like maybe, I would say even a 9-year-old could read this pretty easily. So 9 to maybe 14, this is a good summer reading book for them. They're not gonna like have this painfully sad ending like they would have in Marley and Me. But this one, you're going to be safe to give this to your 10-year-old to read. It's cute. I will say that it definitely bears out. Train your dog. Do the dog training. Puppy school is worth every cent that you pay for it. Just do the dog training and put your dog on a harness. I'm just going to say. The collar leash thing is not good. Do a harness. So yeah, Huck. So I had mixed reviews, even though it was a New York Times bestseller. I'm kind of surprised by that. But anyway, the dog is cute. The family is very nice. So okay, yeah, it's a good safe summer reading for your kids. Okay, now I have 2 craft books to share with you. And I enjoyed both of these books. I want to talk about this one first. So I've been really getting into sewing lately, like a lot. And I recently even got a new sewing machine, and I'll link to that video. And you can see the unboxing of that. So I found this book, and I thought this was a really good, super beginner's primer. It has just a lot of basic techniques that you need to know about. It has some basic projects in it that are good. I'm actually planning on doing this project, which is called a strip quilt. And what that means is you cut long strips and stitch them together and put the backing on, and then I guess you stitch in the ditch to quilt it. Here's what the pattern looks like. So the book, it gives you a lot of just basic technique stuff with sewing, like how to manage fabrics, what the different fabric types are, and then it gives you some good, simple projects that you can work on. And I really liked this quilt. It's a smaller quilt. It measures, the finished quilt will measure out 47 by 30. So it's like a lap quilt, basically. So it's good for summer. It's a good baby's quilt. And I'm definitely going to make this. So stay tuned for that project. It uses just a lot of straight seams, and then you have to sandwich, your stuff to make your quilt, and then you have some mitered corners. So it's got, good basic techniques to make that project. It's not overly taxing, let's just put it that way. So she talks about how to make a drawstring bag. I'm like nuts for bags, and there's so many ways to do bags. I will say that for me, the way my brain works, I find it much easier to watch a video on making a project than following written instructions. That's just how it is. I think a lot of you can relate to that. But I would say that this is a great book if you are just getting started and you don't really know where to begin. Even if you've been sewing for a few months, if you're still relatively new to it, this is a very good book to give you a lot of foundational knowledge. So this is How to Machine Sew by Susie Johns, Techniques and Projects for the Complete Beginner. And I know I have a couple of people that I talk to on the channel who express some concerns about being able to sew and that things feel hard. Try this book, and you can check your library. You can also probably find it for a really good price on Amazon. Don't look at all of the reviews. This is a good book, so try that out. That's a definite yes. And for my second crafting book, I have this one called Sewing Machine Magic, which I referenced in my sewing machine unboxing video, because her whole thing is the benefit of using the correct presser foot on your sewing machine when you're sewing. So I had no idea that a presser foot could make that much of a difference, and that how many there are. And this book I'm definitely going to buy, because let me tell you something. I learned how to properly thread my machine. Yes, there is a proper technique to threading, and it's not just following the diagram. You want your presser foot to be up as you're threading. That makes a big difference, and it has to do with thread tensioning. So everything is about achieving proper thread tension, and it all starts with threading the machine, and I had no idea it was that important. And this goes for threading the top of your machine as well as getting your bobbin right. So, yeah. This book also shares some simple projects. The thing I don't like about the projects in this book, like I was all set to make her kimono project. And then when I went to look at the pattern, it's like this little tiny thing on a page and it gives you measurements. But I mean, this is kind of a complicated piece to cut out without having a printed pattern. So that's a little bit of a turnoff for me. It makes me think maybe I will go to Joann's and see if I can find like a simple pattern to make a kimono, because I do like that. I would love a robe like that. And here's the finished project. I really like that. But trying to do it from that, no, that's not going to happen. Just straight up, that ain't happening. If they were all squares, I could figure that out. But all this stuff with curves, I mean, because you can look, I mean, that's a complex shape. It's not going to happen. So I don't know that I can exactly recommend it for the projects, but it sure gives you a lot of tips on some things. And she does talk about a baby blanket project, which is similar to that quilt I want to make. And so she gives you like really good tips on attaching the binding. So this book in conjunction with the other one is a really good set. And of course she uses a specific presser foot to get the edging on right. So this is a great book, I have to say. The author is Stephanie Lincecum. And she has a class on blueprint. There's actually a free class, so you can check that out. And she does a lot of talk in that free class on presser feet. So you might want to check that out if you're on the fence about it. Go look at the free class on blueprint. But this is a good one. This is one, I think, if you really want to get into sewing and it's something you know that you want to learn a lot about and pursue going forward, this is a good one to put in your personal library. So definite recommendation on Sewing Machine Magic. This next book I'm so excited about. I mean, I can't talk enough about it, but I'll cut it short. I won't go bananas on it. The Secrets of Baking by Sherry Yard. This book is a masterclass in learning how to bake. And I liked it so much. This is the library book. I liked it so much that I went on Amazon and I found this. So I actually was able to buy a library book of the library book that I checked out. How funny is that? I actually bought the library book. It's like what was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio where like all that time warping? I didn't actually see it because it looked like it was just too damn much going on. But yeah, it's kind of like that. Okay. And you were like, okay, why did you buy this book? Let me tell you something. This book, I'm having some lighting issues here. Okay. This book takes you through how to really learn how to bake. And it's very good. She used to cook for Wolfgang Puck at Spago. She was his dessert chef. So she knows what the hell she's talking about. And so she takes you through like the main foundation things in dessert. And this is how she splits them out. A ganache, a caramel, a curd, vanilla sauce, pâte à choux, pound cake and genoise, or genoise, yeah, pound cake and genoise, financière, cookies, pie and tart dough, brioche, laminated dough, fruit, and master combinations. So what she does is she starts like let's say we do the vanilla sauce. So she'll start with, this is how you make the vanilla sauce. And then if you want to get fancier, this is how you build on that. And honestly, this book is it's like a textbook for baking. And I'm kind of a stickler about wanting to do things right and learning how things work. And this book is all of that. So, for example, let's just, with the vanilla sauce, see how she splits out the vanilla sauce into a tree? So she's telling you that this is your basic vanilla sauce, and then if you want to go with an oven-baked custard, you get this. If you want to do added starch on stovetop, it's this. And then the fanciest of all is the secondary cooking procedure with baked stovetop custards. So she works you up to it, in other words. I made her chocolate chip cookies, which are made in a way that I have never seen done before. And I'm going to make them for the channel and show them. It's all about handling the butter. Everything with cookies and getting the cookies you want, it's all in handling the butter. I cannot stress to you enough about the butter. I did like my own little video a few months ago about butter and cookies. She really gets into it and explains it beautifully. And I'm telling you, those cookies are amazing. So we're gonna be doing a lot of cooking from this book coming up, I can tell you that. And let me tell you, this book is not easy to find, and there weren't that many options for used books available on this one. And I don't know if they were new or used. They have so many sections where you can look at stuff, but some of the versions of this book were $160. So I think it's kind of on the rare side. So when I was looking, and I was able to get one that was a former library book, I was so excited. And so it's from Orange County. Look at that. Orange County, California. I guess because they all eat low carb out in Southern California. That's probably why they just took it out. But it's stamped. Anyway, it's in great shape. It's barely been used. I don't think they do a lot of this kind of cooking in Southern California, in Orange County. Why? They can actually go to Spago or wherever and not have all this stuff in their house. So anyway, I'm thrilled. This was the most expensive book I got. This one was $20 used, but it's in excellent shape. It has the Mylar library book cover, and I'm thrilled. So this is my big find. If you are super into baking, this is a great book. So, okay. That is the library haul. Okay, so when I was on Amazon and I got the used cookbook, what I really went on there looking for was this one. And this isn't that beautiful? This is the memoir from Isaac Mizrahi. And here he is. And he was like a big designer in the 90s. I remember him well. I used to be super into fashion photography and working with models and all of that way back in the early 90s. I still have clippings I kept from the old Vogue and Bazaar magazines, because back then they were still doing beautiful art photography in their editorials. Now it's just nothing but super lame, just they were always ads, but they didn't look like ads. Now they just, I don't know, they don't have the same glitter that they had in the past. Anyway, but Isaac. So Isaac is now on QVC every week. I have never bought any of his stuff. It's a little old for me where I am at this point, but I certainly support him and what he's doing. And he's so funny. And he's just started a YouTube channel, so I can link to that. And so if you are a lady of a certain age, you probably remember him. I can also recommend his movie Unzipped. That was on Netflix for the longest time. I watched it a couple of times there. Now it's gone, unfortunately. So you have to buy it, which I probably will go ahead and buy it. But this book is new. It came out in February of 2019. The price on the book is $28.99 US, $37.99 Canadian. So I went on Amazon, and sure enough, there it was used for $9, and I went ahead and got it, and lo and behold, when I opened it, it's a signed copy. So the seller is kind of interesting. He's called Geronimo's House, and he's in the city. I think he was over in Brooklyn. So he's a New Yorker, and I don't know how in the heck he got his hands on a signed book, but he did. And he sold it used, and somebody like did some math on the back inside cover. I don't know what that was for, but they did some old school multiplication in pencil by hand. So that was kind of cool. Maybe Isaac wrote that out. I don't know. Probably not. This is his memoir, and I've enjoyed it so far. Of course, I'm a fan of his anyway. I think if you're a fan of him, you're going to enjoy this. Right now, I'm still in his childhood. But I will say it was interesting to learn that he's of Syrian background. They're Syrian Jews. And his father worked in the old garment district back in the day. So right now we're in the late 60s, early 70s, and the garment district was still a thing at that time. And I think it's a huge, massive loss that we don't have that anymore. And I will say as an aside, I've been watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon because I'm dog sitting and they have Amazon over there. That show is pretty good. What I'm enjoying most about it is the costuming and the fact that the dirtbag ex-husband, spoiler, he's a jerk. His father works in the garment district and actually is has a house that cuts and sews dresses. And back in those days, like, they kept models on staff where they literally draped and fitted the dresses right there. People had jobs where they were dress cutters, and that was a trade. So anyway, and his dad worked in that type of work. So it's I guess natural that Isaac wound up going into dress designing later in his life. So anyway, I got that. And finally, so while I was on Amazon, I went down the rabbit hole, and because it says it'll suggest other books. So I got the memoir, and I found this book, which I haven't even opened yet. It's shrink wrapped. I cannot believe I have this book. It's by Nick Waplington, and it's called The Isaac Mizrahi Pictures. So this is like all of the behind the scenes at the shows back in the 90s. It'll be like all of the supermodels. Everything's on film. It's a hardback book. I mean, it's a nice size. It's a coffee table book. I haven't even opened it yet. So I'm not going to give you a review on it because I haven't even opened it. But I just was so excited to show you what I got. Oh my goodness. So definitely looking forward to that. So I would say next month in the next book update, I'll have a more complete review on that book, and I should have either completely finished or mostly finished the Isaac Mizrahi memoir, and I can let you know how that is. But so far I like it. If you like him, you'll enjoy the book. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Okay then, that's all the books I've been tinkering around in this month, and I think they were all pretty good. And I hope that there's something there that you learned about that you find interesting and want to check out for yourself. And again, I can't recommend getting your library card highly enough. Our beach libraries were closed for a while because they were doing a lot of renovations. They're opened again, so I'm going to venture out and check the cookbook and craft sections at the beach main library. The one closest to me is not that good for either one of those things. I've already checked. So we'll see how the main library is. I'm hoping it's better. We'll see. In any event, I'll still go to Slover. I mean, that's just a thing. I love that. And walking around downtown Norfolk is a wonderful, wonderful, fun thing to do. And it makes me feel like I'm on vacation and in a whole other city. And the best thing is I can do that and still come home to my own bed at night. Okay, that is the video. I'm really, honestly, now I'm done. I'm finished. That's it. I'm all booked out for this month. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like the video, hit the bell, do all the stuff, and let me know below what you're reading. And do you have a favorite cookbook or a favorite craft book or whatever? And what library do you use? Okay, all that stuff I want to know, so leave it below. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.